You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
In the US, do you have, or do you guys call Wednesday hump day?
Yeah, man.
You ask me questions like that all the time. Like, thing is that I don't even call it hump day. I don't know anyone that does call it hump day, but I think that's more just a online thing or midweek hump day. I'm just like, whatever. Okay.
Hump day? Yeah. You never heard that before?
No.
It came from it was in a commercial. It was a camel in a commercial, and the camel was walking around the office. It was a talking camel in the office of people, and he said, "You know what day it is? You know what day it is?" You know what I'm saying? He just kept asking everybody, "You know what day it is? You know what day it is?" And then one person's like, "No, what day is it?" And he says, "Hump day, yeah." Because he's a camel, the camel hump, bro. You get it?
That's so bad. Like, that can't be the reason why people call it hump day. It has to be something else.
Because it's the middle of the week and you got to get over the hump.
I've never referred to Wednesday as hump day, but it'll also be because I guess my middle of the week is normally Tuesday as I work on Sundays. So, like, it's just how it is. But outside of that question, how are you?
Barracuda boys back at it, man. I'm gonna just leave it right there. But listen, what is a good costume to dress up as for an adult Halloween party? Like grown people dressing up in costumes. What's a go-to? What's a good one?
I'd probably go with someone famous, like an actor, but like someone who has like distinguishable features. So, like, me being me, I'd go as Batman, but that's probably not the cool thing to do. If you go as, I feel like there was a time when everyone was going from the people from 300, like the Sparta guys, like if you had that ripped body, something like that.
I couldn't get away with that.
I don't live with you. I'm seeing you with your top off. Don't want to see you with your top off. I'm sure LB can, let you know whether that is acceptable for you. Do you know what you could go as? If you want to go with your top off, go as like a UFC fighter, John Jones or someone.
That's a good one. Should I walk around barefoot too?
UFC fighters, man. Listen, like, yeah, I think it's kind of I feel like you have enough of the stuff. You don't need to really.
Oh, that's a good one, bro. I could wear the gloves, get the tape, and just be.
Yeah.
Man, had I known, I should have been going hard in the gym. That way, I could be right at the party.
Just wear like a t-shirt, like a UFC t-shirt, or like an Under Armour t-shirt.
Oh, so I can't go around topless at the party.
Oh, you can, but you said like because you haven't really gone in the gym recently, like that could be the whole thing. Like it's your pre-match, I guess. If
my warm-ups.
Yeah.
Oh, we getting somewhere. What you got something else for me?
I'm trying to think of. Could go to as Teddy Two Gloves, but I guess that's more.
I guess that caters to a certain crowd too. I don't think they'll get that. Well, I was thinking about wearing a tux and a bow tie and a real nice watch. And when people say, "Who are you supposed to be?" I can just say, "The name's Bond, James Bond."
Yeah. I think stuff like that always goes down well because again, it's okay, cool. You're a spy or something like that.
Yeah.
If you want to be like, what I would do is, wear like one of my Dolphin jumpers, some chinos, the headset, and I'm an NFL coach. But I don't think that's cool. I think that's like the Kadeem lame stuff.
Mhm.
So listen, let us know in the comments below what's an acceptable, cool stuff, adult Halloween costume to wear. I think you should go with the UFC stuff. I think
I ain't gonna
that's
lie. If I was a little bit more swole and I ain't stopped working out the past month, I might have did the UFC thing with some gloves, and I don't know about walking around topless, shirtless at someone else's place though. That might be unacceptable. Now if I was throwing a party, I think I could do that. But yeah, y'all know what time it is. Hey, leave it in the comments though. Let us know. Y'all know what time it is. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. And the name's Bond, James Bond. Kadeem, I got a stat for you just to jump off the bat. You ready?
I'm always ready.
Did you know Tua Tagovailoa is 10-2 in his last 12 starts?
Yeah.
10-2 in his last 12 starts. That's including the Bengals start. It's for everyone. Oh, what about the games he didn't finish? Like, nah, I got you. We said it the right way. 10-2 in his last 12 starts. Everybody's still trying to get that man out the paint, though. It's crazy how that works. Why you ain't bring that up on the podcast if you knew it, Kadeem?
Because it's one of those stats which I always see on social media, and then I forget to say, oh, by the way, because it's like since he was drafted, since he started playing, like the Dolphins win record when he starts / finishes games compared to without him is like so absurd that again, and I think there's two is not for everyone, but I think we are clearly at a point now where at the bare minimum you have to accept that when he starts and finishes games, the Dolphins win.
That's not even the stat, though. I'm gonna be clear. That's not the stat when he starts and finishes game. That's when he starts.
Yeah,
he's 10-2.
But I'm saying, people will say, oh, but he came out for. I'm like, listen, I'm not doing came out for the Bills game and came in for I'm not doing all of that. I'm just saying, there's games. If you look at his win record, or the Dolphins win record with Tua, and the Dolphins lost record without him, you can't argue that the Dolphins don't win. People can say, "Oh, but who have they played?"
Listen, they played the teams who are on the schedule.
Yeah, it's not like he says, "Actually, do you know what? We're playing the 10-1 Bills this week, so I'm going to go home." Like that's not how it works. He doesn't pick and choose what game he plays and stuff like that. So, no, I've seen the stat, and the reason I haven't brought it up is because I always forget to write it down when I am, when we're about to pod.
You know what? We were supposed to record yesterday, Kadeem, weren't we?
Yep.
And we had some things come up. We had to push it back a little bit, and then the time zone doesn't help. So it is what it is. We're here now.
I knew he was going to do that.
I
knew that was coming. I literally knew
it. Hey, Kadeem, you think it's time to have Myles Gaskin, friend of the podcast, Myles Gaskin, and Savon Ahmed to get significant touches, like more touches than what they're getting? Is Chase Edmonds now in the category of Jordan? What was the name? What was Howard? Jordan Howard? It's Jordan Howard, wasn't it? The running back?
Yeah.
Jordan Howard and Malcolm Brown. It's probably another running back I can't think of right now that we just signed for $5.5 million and they did not contribute at all. So is Chase Edmonds officially in that category?
Yeah, but I think, and this might have come from, I'm pretty sure it came from the same old Dolphins show, and they were saying that what Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins need to stop doing is taking out Raheem Mostert in the end zone. Like, just stop doing that. If you want, obviously you can't give Mostert touches over and over again. So if you want to I'm saying the point because I agree with it. If in the middle of the field you want to give Edmonds a touch, then cool, fair enough. You're resting Mostert. But we're probably at a point now where in the red zone, the only running back I want to see in the backfield is Mostert. And in the red zone, if you're going to throw it, again, Edmonds can't be there because the drops are way too significant in the red zone. And even the drops in the middle of the field. Edmonds is at a point now where just don't throw him the ball. And if you get to that point, then yeah, I want to see Gaskin, Savon Ahmed. I would have said Jaquandre White, but obviously he's not part of the team no more. It's definitely at a stage in the season where Edmonds has worked his way up the rotation because to somewhat of a degree, he can't be relied on to pick up first downs, secure catches, to keep the chains moving and stuff like that. You on mute?
We only play 3 running backs. We only dress 3 running backs. 4, including the fullback, but 3 tailbacks. And that's is usually Mostert, Chase Edmonds, and Savon Ahmed. I want to say a game or 2, Myles Gaskin dressed because Ahmed was hurt. So as far as Ahmed or Myles Gaskin, put them in around the goal line if we're going to throw it, it's whichever one of those 2 dressed that week. My thing is, Mostert's going to have to get spelled because he can't run the ball he can't be in every single down. He's going to need a breather and stuff like that. Do we trade for a running back? Do we think it's that serious to where we actually need to just go get another running back? Or because I feel like Myles ran pretty good outside of him being a friend of the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like when he came in, it was still better than Chase Edmonds. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a serious thing we need to consider. Something else that's a serious thing we need to consider, Kadeem, is bringing back the throwback jerseys and making them official, bro. Like I'm dead serious. Like this is too, it's going on too long, far too whatever. I messed that up, but far too long too far. Whatever you want to say, it's been going on for too long, bro. And LB hit it on the head and said, bro, all the shenanigans and all the scandals and all the negative publicity that the Dolphins have been in the past couple of years, this is a W that they could give us.
Yep.
Like, yo, all right, Dolphin fans. I know we haven't been seen in the best light the past few years, but we're going to give y'all this. Here goes the uniforms for good. Like, there are official uniforms. What's preventing it from happening? Actually, I kind of know. I think it's the money thing. Because now you have a brand new facility, practice facility, and all the new colors and new logo, or modern colors and modern logo, and then you're gonna have to change all of that stuff up. But it's crazy because when you had a new facility building it, you could have just made your transition then. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going off on a tangent, bro. But I watched the game again last night. I'm like, look at this. Look how good these colors are, bro. Look how good the stadium looks, and then the light is dim, and then QB1 runs out the tunnel in slow motion.
This isn't Baywatch.
Okay, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? He runs out in slow motion. Like, bro, we need these jerseys. We need these uniforms, but we could talk about something for real. My bad, man. I was just like, nah, bro, we need these jerseys.
Yeah, in the last video we had, Moya TV, shout out to Moya TV in the comments, we're talking about how from a financial point of view and Stephen Ross, the Dolphins owner, seeing the team as a business, it makes sense to have, essentially 2, aqua jerseys, one being the current ones, one being the throwback ones. I understand that. For me, the Dolphins are a sports franchise. Like, it's probably part of the reason why the Dolphins haven't been successful for for how long, because you have someone in charge who sees it as a business. Listen, the tennis, the Formula One, they're great. Don't get us wrong, but kind of need you to focus solely on making sure the team can win multiple Super Bowls. And that doesn't mean, talking to other quarterbacks and having first round picks, Docs. I'm telling you now, yeah, I feel like as a franchise, we don't speak, or as a fan base, we don't speak enough about the fact that we lost the first round pick. But that's for draft season. Like, what I will say, looking at the offensive line, looking at linebacker, looking at all this kind of stuff, you asked me about getting another running back. That first round pick right now, you're probably not going to spend on a running back, but it just gives you better options. Anyway, so yeah, Moya TV said, it's a financial thing. Why sell one home jersey when you can sell two home jerseys? I think that, like you said, it's such an easy W for the team. Yeah, you have to do some, stadium changes, but just
I'm push back and say this: if you make the throwback jerseys, the new jerseys, the official jerseys, you can have an alternate now. So now you don't have to have the modern jerseys at all. So shout out to Moya TV, sell them both, and you can have them both. Well, now if you make the throwback jerseys, the official jerseys, you can have an all brand new alternative jersey that we've never seen before, and it could be great alternative.
I would just that is all. Well,
so it's always a new one. Or you want to go with the Miami Vice colors, the pink and blue, you could do that too. So like, there's multiple ways to make money, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like we could do a whole bunch of different things, but having the original Miami Dolphin colors should be our colors.
Yeah, definitely. I would literally, as you were talking, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was thinking, great are the Miami Vice ones. We've seen people online mock up how it would look, and everyone's always said, "Yeah, do it right now." So, listen, when Stephen Ross departs, whoever the next owner is, be it his daughter, be it whoever, it's like the easiest dub to come in, guys.
That's it.
Literally, it's like, the best way to get off to a winning start, guys, Throwback are permanent. Everyone will praise you, anoint you as a savior, but like you said,
you get a grace period now. All of a sudden, you're not on the clock. Like you get, all right, wait. Give him a break. But then you brought up draft compensation, and that's funny because we were actually talking about draft compensation because there's running backs that we would want coming out the draft, and we won't have the running back issue anymore. There's needs that we have in the draft coming up. You're always going to have needs. And now there's rumors. It's trade season. Trade deadline is November 1st, that Denver Broncos may be interested in moving wide receiver Jeudy. And if you're on Twitter, Miami Dolphins Twitter is going to tell you the Dolphins are interested in wide receiver Jeudy and reuniting him with QB1 Tua Tagovailoa Tagovailoa with their Alabama roots, right? How do you feel about it? And are you in or are you at on Jeudy? Trading for Jeudy.
JJ. Tua can't have. I've only had this conversation on different players. Tua can't have too many weapons. Like, you can't have too many wide receivers. Like, even if you had 6 all-pro wide receivers, great. It means when one comes out, another one comes in. Excellent. If the offensive line was fixed right now, and Chase Edmonds was balling, I guess, or not dropping passes, I'd say sure, go and get Jeudy. We're not getting much from Cedric Wilson, but then that goes to, well, we're not getting much from Cedric Wilson. We're not getting, or Mike Gesicki isn't being utilized the way we would like him to be. So add in Jeudy when there's still glaring holes at offensive line and cornerback. Yes, they brought back, is it Jamal Perry? Yes, they worked out
D.D. Westbrook
and Malcolm Butler as well.
Yeah.
So I was going to get to D.D. Westbrook. It's like, they're clearly looking at more receiver help, despite the fact that receivers aren't really down much. Like no one got injured as far as I know. To answer the question, yes, I'd get Jerry Jeudy. Because why am I saying no to more weapons on a rookie contract? And he could be the person, I guess, who replaces Tyreek Hill as he gets older. So I don't see any downside. However, if you can give me an offensive lineman or cornerback, then that's my priority.
All right, so we kind of brought up Kareem Hunt and who's the corner we brought up on the last episode?
Greedy Williams.
Greedy Williams. Here's where I am with Jerry Jeudy. There's something to be said about everyone saying Mike Gesicki doesn't fit the McDaniel scheme, and that's why you're getting a lot of targets to Hill and Waddle. But my thing is, from a football perspective, we seen Craycraft come down with some pretty good catches, big catches. We seen Trent Sherfield get his share of targets, and we haven't seen Cedric Wilson, $7.5 million acquisition, do anything significant yet, right? So just from the outside looking in, it makes me think, okay, maybe Mike McDaniel feels Craycraft and Trent Sherfield aren't. You all right, champ?
I went to write something down and the pen wasn't working. I went to open it and everything fell out.
This guy. This is what I got to deal with, y'all. So maybe Coach McDaniel feels like Trent Sherfield isn't a 9-target receiver per game, 9-target per game receiver. Maybe he feels like Craycraft 400 isn't a 9-target per game receiver. Maybe even though we signed Cedric Wilson for $7.5 million pre-Tyreek Hill trade, Coach McDaniel feels like, well, he doesn't fit the role we wanted for Cedric Wilson. A lot of people thought Cedric Wilson was going to come in and play the slot off the bat. Like, we're going to put him in the slot. We're going to put Waddle to the outside. And if you look at it now, Waddle and Tyreek Hill gets all kind of targets. You can move all of them around. No one is just one position receiver. And Cedric Wilson is the odd man out in the musical chairs. Y'all play musical chairs over there in London?
We do, yeah.
All right. So now it feels like Cedric Wilson, Craycraft 400, and Trent Sherfield are only decent in the system. Not saying decent receivers, not saying they're not good at all, but in this system, it seems as if they're in the Mike Gesicki category. So maybe, just maybe, you got to imagine when you interview Mike McDaniel, you didn't tell him everything you wanted to tell him. You didn't spill all the beans. Because the first week Mike McDaniel got signed as a head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Chris Greer couldn't wait to tell him, hey, I'm working on Tyreek Hill. You feel me? They're like, yo, I couldn't wait to tell him. So all that being said, now that Mike McDaniel has been in the building long enough to have his influence on the offense and talk with Chris Greer, if this is really a thing, if this is really a conversation, Jerry Jeudy, it's because Mike McDaniel wants him, not because Chris Greer wants him. You see what I'm saying? It's because Mike McDaniel says, look, if I don't have the inline tight end I want, give me a third wide receiver that I could give more targets to. And that third wide receiver right now is Craycraft, Sherfield, or Wilson, and they're not really doing much. So maybe this is just maybe now. Maybe coach feels like, give me a inline receiver or a third inline tight end or a third receiver, and then we could have spread out these targets more. Now, my answer, because I asked you a question, I'll answer the question. My answer to the question is, I'm going to be real with you, it looks good right now because Jerry Jeudy is still in his rookie contract, and he's not even in his last year of his rookie contract. 2023 is his last year of his rookie contract. So that means if you traded for Jerry Jeudy, you'll get him for about $2 million next season. Then you could 5th-year option him. And I'm not saying that's the wisest thing to do because you might ruffle some feathers, but you can fifth year option him in 2024. Worst case scenario, you could franchise tag him in 2025. All the while, Tyreek Hill will be making $30+ million a season. Jalen Waddle will be coming up eventually in his contract talks. And it's not close, but eventually it's going to happen. So you wonder, are you going to ever get to a place where you're paying Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Jerry Jeudy all of this money, and over a third of your cap is going to 3 receivers? I mean, yes, the cap goes up every year in the NFL, but I cannot fathom that right there. But for my dollar, my answer is no, don't trade for him. And the only reason I'm going to say no, don't trade for him, is because you have to trade a asset. You're probably going to have to move a pick to go get Jerry Jeudy. And my thing is, you're going to lose the pick and you're going to have to pay Jerry Jeudy. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't go get him. And not because, oh, we need O-line, we need better, we got to fix this, we got to fix that. No, that's not it. Because if you're dominant somewhere, you could be dominant. Because I seriously doubt, Kadeem, and I know I'm running long, I seriously doubt the Dolphins are not going to attempt to fix the O-line in the offseason. And I don't think it's just going to be in the draft. I think the Dolphins are smart enough to realize now we don't draft the best when it comes to O-line. Lastly, we want to fix the O-line in free agency. That way, when we get to the draft, if someone blows our draft up, we at least fix the line of free agency. So all that being said, if you acquire a receiver, regardless of if it's Jerry Jeudy or not, the Dolphins are going to make the attempt again in free agency like we did this year with Connor Williams and Terron Armstead to fix it next year. But my answer is still no on Jerry Jeudy.
So rumors are that the Broncos are currently in London. Shout out to Cameron Hogwood from Sky Sports. He had him on the show last year. He's literally with the Broncos, watching them train and stuff like that. The rumors are that if the Broncos lose in London on Sunday against the Jaguars, they're going to trade away Bradley Chubb. Now, it kind of sounds like they're not so much blowing it up, but they're going to make some moves. Your boy Chris Greer, if he can maneuver it so Jerry Jeudy comes in for a third, you still saying no?
No, I'm not saying no. I'll do it. Because,
no, I can say, and I think it's one of those horrible questions where it's like, you know, you say no for trading Jerry Jeudy, but if it's for, you know, late day two pick, like, why would you say no to that and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I think I still might be tempted to trade him for a second. And I understand it's one of those things where, yes, you've got to pay him, but like you said, you might have to really pay him the bag until 2025. And by then, Tyreek Hill might have gone already. You know, depending on how, I can't think of how you contract at the top of my head, but you might be basically moving the Tyreek Hill money to Jerry Jeudy. And you've still got that track team, you know, Jalen Waddle, you probably pay him, Jerry Jeudy, Tua. I'm sure the people go in, oh, this is further proof that, you know, Tua needs his Alabama guys. I don't want to hear it. Like, that's just, like, no. To me, it's just a really good wide receiver is available. It's not working out in Denver. You bring him into Miami. He kind of, I guess, takes the Cedric Wilson role because Cedric Wilson isn't doing much right now. And yeah, you basically give yourself more options to attack teams because for all of the strength the Dolphins have shown on offense this year, they've only scored more than 20 points once in 7 games. Which, when I realized that, I was like, that's not that good. Like, we should be putting up 30 at a minimum given the offensive talent. And I'm not saying this offense is struggling right now, but it is very much the Waddle and Hill show with, you know, featuring Gesicki, Craycraft, and Sherfield went about. And I want to see more guys get utilized on a more consistent basis. So I'm saying yes to Jerry Jeudy.
Hey, that's cool. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm more inclined to go after Bradley Chubb than I am to go after you know what I'm saying, Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
And that's not a shot at no one. That's just the game starts in the trenches. You have to fix O-line, you have to fix D-line before anything. So I understand you have a plethora, not a plethora, but you have some elite receivers on your team and you want depth, but that's why you drafted. That's why you used a 4th-round pick on Eric Ezukama. That's why you paid Cedric Wilson $7.5 million. I just feel like you got to spread it out a little bit. And you know, I'm pretty sure people in the comments gonna be like, we need O-line, we need corners, we need. Like, I understand that, but also you go to the store and didn't know something was on sale. You end up buying it because it's on sale. Like, hey, I ain't need this, but it's nice to have it. So yeah, man, I get it. I got a tweet for you. I remember we used to do tweet of the day. We might want to get back into that. But I got a tweet for you from Mikey J 2208. And it says, fun fact, Mahomes led the league in drop interceptions when he won MVP, and Josh Allen led the league last year in drop interceptions. This is only a stat people care about now because they need something new to bash Tua on. Obviously, Tua had a few drop picks in his last game, and he got lucky in the Bills game, I think, too. A couple drop picks. And of course, we want QB1 to clean it up. Like, yo, he got some stuff he got to clean up. But at the same time, you can't say the man did not look nice. Like, yo, how comfortable are you when this man plays in the game, bro? Right? So this tweet continues, and it says, oh, stop. And this is someone else now. This is Lee Feldman. You get your credit too, bro. Oh, stop. Everyone who watched the game saw that Tua was awful. I don't care what his stats were. He threw inaccurately, which prevented yak. And every downfield throw was to a Steeler. Mike comes back and says, 261 yards, 1 touchdown, 92.7 QBR. Yeah, he was awful, all right. I'm just saying, Kadeem. You know, and then there's another tweet I can't remember someone put out there basically saying we're at a place where if Tua doesn't throw 500 yards and 6 touchdowns, he's not the quarterback. And it's crazy because that's how we started the podcast. Tua is 10-2 still in his last 12 games. What are we doing here, right? But go ahead, Kadeem. A lot of drop interceptions. Mahomes, Josh Allen led the league in drops interceptions. Now they're getting on Tua for drop interceptions. I guess that means something good if that's the case.
I want to be crystal clear. We Dolphins fans in general want our quarterback to clean up some of these throws. Like, we're not here saying, you know, he's bad. It's just, let's look after the ball. Let's not present defense the opportunity to turn the ball over. I think I can't remember who it was, and I really do apologize on social media. After the Steelers game, there was so much talk about Tua had, 4 potential interceptions. How many did Kenny Pickett have? 3, including one right at the end.
3 actual interceptions.
Yeah, including one at the end to lose the game. But no one spoke about that. People spoke about the potential interceptions against the Bills. No one speaks about the ones that Josh Allen had in that exact same game. Xavier Howard should have had him for a pick 6.
Yeah, he had 2 picks. He could have entered another pick in the back of the end zone, and he dropped it. It was going to Stephon Diggs, and he could have had every Dolphin fan sleeping easier that day if he would have just picked it off in the end zone. So he had 2 drop picks.
But there was one like earlier on that drive.
Yeah, there was because the spike where was that before halftime?
Okay, so Xavier Howard should have had 2 interceptions. There was one right before halftime, the spike, which Xavier Howard read. There was another one in the flats, which Howard dropped. And I think this was like in the 4th quarter.
So listen, so you're saying he had 3 drop interceptions, but 2 drop pick 6s. Oh no, I remember what you're talking about. Kadeem. Yeah, so there was a spike where Josh Allen went to spike the ball, but he dropped the ball and time elapsed. So he picked it up instead of throwing it into the ground. He tried to throw it at Diggs, and then Xavier Howard read it, dropped the pick. It would have been a pick six. Then there was another one on the near side of the field that you're talking about, Kadeem, where it was an easy pick six. And wasn't that the one where he said he'll never drop a pick again?
Yeah.
And then in the back of the end zone is when he dropped another one in the fourth quarter to Diggs. And so Allen had 3 drop picks in that game, just to Xavier Howard alone.
To Xavier Howard alone. He had one to friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, which Brandon Jones is, trying to make a play. He kind of hits the receiver and he kind of throws him off. He also had one on that final drive to friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, to the ball went through his hands. So Allen had 5 alone in that game. And kind of, when I say 5 alone, I'm talking the ones in which people can talk about 2 and stuff like that. So,
right.
Also while we're here, shout out to friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, currently on IR. We might not even see him again this season from the way in which Mike McDaniel kind of spoke about it. But obviously, everyone here at Go Time Dolphins wishing a full and healthy recovery to friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones. The defense just won't be the same without you. We hope to have you back on the field as soon as possible. Do you mind if I talk about the offensive line quickly?
Knock yourself out.
So, again, I want to make crystal clear, we do need to fix this offensive line. But I will give credit where credit is due. According to PFF, the Dolphins have a top 5 center in Connor Williams, who's currently rated 5th, a top 10 guard in friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt, who's currently rated 7th, and a top 15 tackle in Teron Armstead, who's currently ranked at 14th. Which, now obviously we're talking, given where the Dolphins offensive line has been over the past few years, that is amazing. But it's not perfect. We want perfect. We want, a right tackle who's not trash. And hopefully, friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson, can return. And then obviously a left guard who, again, isn't trash. So, my question to you, we have a top 5 center in Connor Williams right now, still has snap issues. Are you still moving him to left guard and bringing in Michael Dieter or trading for a center? Or are you keeping Williams at center, who's playing at a top 5 level, still got some snap issues, and you're bringing in a new left guard?
I'm still upgrading. I'm bringing in the center.
Okay.
Straight up. Because it fixes 2 positions.
But doesn't not. Okay, so my pushback to that is it fixes 2 positions, but I guess the quality goes down. So you might improve this. You might have no more snap issues, but you might not get a top 5 center, which is a downgrade, if that makes sense.
Hey, I'm almost done with the rankings. You think Connor was the top 5 center right now?
I wouldn't have him...
I'm at that, I'm at the point where it's like, yo, what metric are y'all using? Because I need to know. I really need to know. Because sometimes I'm like, I can see that, and then sometimes I'm like, nah, bro, I don't know about that. So yeah, just like I point out people with their narratives all the time. I gotta call Go Time Dolphins out too. Like, hey, when it's in the Dolphins have the worst offensive line in the league, we use it. But when I hear Connor Williams is a top 5 center, I'm like, I don't know about that one. So yeah, I'm almost done on ratings. I'm about to only go by the eye test.
And yeah, like I said, the snap issues are still there. I don't think they're egregious as they were prior to the last few weeks. But I do think in terms of overall, once the snap is completed and Connor Williams is doing blocking things, I think he's done really, really well. I think there was also it might be that Vikings game where as a lead blocker down the field and Jalen Waddle behind him, that's what I want to see from my offensive line. So I'm
gonna be real with you. The line looks good, way better than last year for sure. And then there's times when the line doesn't look so good, but I've seen players where I'm like, boy, that's a pocket right there. That's a nice pocket. And it's been a lot. It's been often. So I can see our line has been improved for sure, but it's still a patched up line, full of band-aids. You know what I'm saying? Now, my last question would be, how could he be a top 5 center if we know he has snap issues? So is snapping the ball not in the metric of rating the center? You see what I'm saying? Like, how could he be top 5? You telling me every center behind him has snap issues too? You see what I'm saying? So apparently snapping the ball as a center is not weighed into the equation. I don't like that. But I'm not too sure about that.
I think for simplicity's sake, because I think they just, in terms of offensive line, they just look at, run block, pass block. Because
I thought so too.
Yeah,
sure.
So it's probably one of those things where if you do factor in snapping the ball, yeah, Williams drops down the list. Probably drops down the list quite far, to be honest. But in terms of run block and pass block, according to PFF, there's only 4 guys doing a better job at center. And I could easily find it out, which I probably will find out, to be fair. But yeah,
I wonder if penalties are in there too. Are we weighing penalties?
Off the top of my head, probably, but I don't think Connie Williams has given away any penalties this year.
I think he has. I think I heard his name a couple of times. Matter of fact, I'm sure I have, because I remember saying he was the most penalized offensive lineman last year.
But that was last year. That's not
no. But I've seen him. I think it was. What game are we at? We just had. Who we just played? Pittsburgh. It wasn't Pittsburgh. It might have been the Jets. It might have been in the Jet game, bro. Yeah, listen. I'm sure he's had a couple penalties this year, and I'm not gonna say it was a bunch, but I'm sure he's been called for penalties this year, because I remember it triggered a look at this guy. He was the most penalized offensive lineman last year. But I'm not saying that his penalties should bring him down. I'm just saying, is that metric including penalties and bad snaps? I think that's a fair question to ask if you're going to rate a center.
100%. So the top 5 centers according to PFF. Number 1 is Creed Humphrey at the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Jason Kelsey at the Eagles. Number 3, Ethan Pochik at the Browns. Number 4, Corey Linsley at the Chargers. And number 5, Connor Williams. And looking at it's literally one block, pass block, nothing else. What is interesting though is looking at it, Connor Williams is graded the second best pass blocking center in the league. Only Creed Humphrey is better than him. And in terms of run block, okay, he drops down quite a bit. But again, outside of those snap issues, which cannot be ignored, he seems to be doing a fairly good job, which, again, given what we've had recently, if at the start of the season, the Dolphins would have 3 offensive linemen in the top 15, we'd be like, oh my days, they fixed your offensive line. The problem is that the play at left guard is so bad, and right tackle, due to how many people have come in and out, is really bad as well.
Hey, shout out to, is it Jason Keck? Is that how you pronounce it? Keck?
I've always said Keck, yeah.
Jaelan Phillips got a game ball last game. I'm just saying, what you make of that, Kadeem?
I think there's been a lot of Jaelan Phillips defenders on social media who have rightfully pointed out that, Jaelan Phillips might not be up there in terms of sack numbers, but in terms of, pressures, not to diminish, sacks and stuff like that, but his all-around play has him like a top 10 or top 20 at least defensive end in the NFL. And again, we want more sacks. Same way as a quarterback, we want to clean up some of these, potential interceptions. But he's doing every single thing right in both the pass game and the run game to make a significant difference. It's just not being cleaned up with sacks. So I'm cool with that. But again, I completely understand if you want more sacks. You want more sacks, 100%.
So shout out to Jason Keck. Like I remember there was an episode where he said I made a face or something, or I scoffed at what his name or something. Bro, we rock with you here on GTD. I rock with you personally. I like when people don't have the same opinion because we need a diverse comment section. People who defend their comments and their ideas and their thoughts and opinions. So no, I rock with you, bro. I'm just more patient on Jaelan Phillips. I think we should be more patient with a few people when it's time to be patient. I'm less patient with other players. That being said, I was watching the game, Kadeem, the Patriots game, and Jaelan Phillips made a tackle. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say the Steelers game? Patriots game?
You said Patriots, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I did say Patriots. I was watching the Steelers game. And who knows? I could have been watching the Patriots game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still got to record it. But I was watching the Steelers games last night. And I seen this live when it happened, but I watched it again last night. And I'm like, why is Jaelan Phillips making a tackle 12 yards down the field? You know what I'm saying?
Scramble by Kenny Pickett.
Like, because he's dropping back in the coverage, bro. So, of course, he's not going to have the sack numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that we want if he's back here playing Isaiah Simmons' role. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not cool. I don't want my DN, basically. He's a DN. Yeah, he's listed as a linebacker, but he's a DN. Yo, can we put this man hand in the ground and rush him 60 plays out the game? You feel me? So, unfortunately, that's not how we use him. And so he's not going to have the glorious sack record that is the desired, that is so desired by the fans. But all that being said, the man had 8 tackles. And if you look it up on the stats, it's listed as 4 tackles and 4 assists. But I think when they gave him the game ball, they said 8 tackles, 1.5 sacks. So, and he was still dropping back in coverage. So listen, man, I want to pump the brakes a little bit on saying Jaelan Phillips ain't it, because he still has plenty of time.
He so again, according to PFF, on Sunday he had 7 pressures and 6 run stops, tackles within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. His 25 pressures are tied for 13th in the NFL among edges. His 15 run stops also tied for 13th among edge defenders.
25 pressures, you said?
Yes, in so far across 7 games.
And he still drops back in the coverage.
Which kind of goes back to this guy's really good at rushing the passer. Like, have him rush the passer. Like,
can we just rush the passer every play with dog? You see what I'm saying?
And again, we've said this before. It's one of those things where, it's part of the disguised look that the Dolphins have. Whenever I see Melvin Ingram in coverage, I'm like, dude, what are we doing? Like, stop this. Like, but if it's what the Dolphins want, I can want them to do something else. But they're gonna do it,
bro. I'm gonna say you gotta remix it. Like, mix it up a little bit. Like, I don't want my dog dropping. Well, he's not my dog, but go get Bradley Chubb and have him and Bradley Chubb just rush the quarterback every single play and watch how many pressures go up. But I'm just playing right now. Hey, let's go on to you got anything on Jaelan Phillips before we go on to bonus time?
Nothing more on Jaelan Phillips. That's, outside of just the sack numbers aren't there, but he's playing like a top 15 edge defender in the league, which I guess is what you want from a first round pick in your second year.
Hey, y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time.
When it's your time. Already. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time.
We've got people bonus time.
Hey, you see this picture on the this side of me? You see,
and every night is New Year's Eve.
For all the marbles, Kadeem, me and my homeboys, we'd be like, get us out the hood, right? We kind of made up. We made up a game when we were growing up called "How Well Do You Know Your Homeboy?" And it's like, let's say you're chilling with your friend, And he says, hey, I'm about to be back in like 15 minutes. I'm going to go to the crib real quick. And then the rest of us will be chilling, be like, how well do you know your homeboy? You know what I'm saying? Like a game show. And they were like, how long until he comes back? And everybody would give us a time. Like, all right, let's see who knows him the best. And then we do that with other things. Like when I don't know. Like I might say something slick. And I guess they'll have to be like, oh, how long, how far into us hanging out does it take before Charles says something slick? Right? So anyway, we had this other game called Get Us Out the Hood, where if you get the question right, we get up out the hood. Like we made it. It's like the $1 million question. You call into the radio station and all right, for $1 million, can you answer this question? And so, we just bounce questions off of each other. So I'm gonna have you get us out of the hood, Kadeem. So for $1 million, bro, and every night is New Year's Eve, where does that come from? All right, you know what? Because you look lost just now, I'm gonna give you a hint. It's a song.
Does not be at all.
All right, so for all of our audio listeners who don't have the visual on the podcast, I'm in my apartment right now, and to the, I guess it's the left of me if you're looking, and I think it's the right of me in real life. There's a picture on my wall that says, and every night is New Year's Eve. And Kadeem should know the answer to this question, but he doesn't. And it's okay because, people like, oh, where'd you get that from? And I tell them, no, don't look it up, Kadeem. Put your hands up, Kadeem. Get your hands up, bro. Yeah, no searching it up, bro. Look at you. You over here cheating.
No.
So listen, because I might be on FaceTime and people are like, oh, I love that plaque. Where'd you get it? I'm gonna tell you where I got it from. You sure you don't? You know what? I'm gonna give you a lifeline, Kadeem. There's a line in the song. I told you it was a song. There's another line in the song where the person says, every day is Christmas.
Nope. But
oh my goodness, man!
Don't give us the answer on the next episode.
Oh,
answer the next episode.
All right, I'll answer on the next episode. Everybody should have it by then, but I'll wait for the next episode. So let's get back into some Dolphin stuff. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's Wednesday.
Yep.
Looking ahead to the Detroit Lions. The 1-5 Detroit Lions. How do we beat Jared Goff's 1-5 Detroit Lions, who, to be fair, have been kind of frisky or were kind of frisky the first few weeks.
These boys ain't a 1-5 team. You are what your record says you are, but they got some fight in them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like when we go fishing, you know what I'm saying, and we reeling in the fish and they just flopping around on the ice after we catch them. Like they still got something in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they not all the way out yet. So how do we beat them? I think we beat them more so on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't want to give you too much because we'll have the preview coming up. So people will have to tune in to see how we actually, what the keys to win the game against Detroit this week. But I got one more question for you though. Malcolm Butler. You want Malcolm Butler?
I want to say yes, given how beat up our secondary is, our DBs, especially with Byron Jones going out. It doesn't require any draft capital. He, I guess, would somewhat know the system, given that it's probably similar to what gets
same
run
system.
in
same system,
yeah,
same exact system
to what happens in New England. So, yeah, I think right now we can't really, turn our noses or turn away potential cornerback help.
So I'm gonna be all the way candid with you. I always thought Malcolm Butler was the most overrated corner ever. Yes, he made the best play ever in his life, almost in football history. You can argue this play is one of the best plays ever in football history, and I would be on. I'll go to bat for it, coming from a defensive mind like myself. So, yeah, Malcolm Butler made one of the best plays ever, but he's still not that good. He still gets routed up. He still can't tackle well. He ain't it. And he's 32 years old. I said all of that, but I'll still take him right now because we're banged up. That's how banged up we are. I'll still take him right now. And he got one play to his name, you know what I'm saying, in real life. Like he has, and it's the best play probably in the history of football, which is the interception. For those who don't know who Malcolm Butler is, he got the interception against the Seahawks in the Super Bowl when he played for the Patriots. And just even more into that one play, there was some type of documentary on the Patriots, and it had everyone mic'd up, and you could hear what everyone was thinking about on that play. That game was almost over. Belichick was going to call timeout, didn't call timeout. Matt Patricia's like, he wasn't saying nothing to us. He was just looking at the other sideline, and we got the goal line 3, and they only practiced goal line 3 like twice or 3 times the whole season in practice. And Josh Boyer was up in the booth, and Brian Flores was on the sideline. So goal line 3 was the call. Brian Flores is sending in everyone on the defense, goal line 3. And then Josh Boyer, our current defensive coordinator, says to Brian Flores, our former head coach, put Malcolm in. Flo turns around, looks at Malcolm Butler, says, Malcolm, go. Malcolm Butler runs in. Very next snap, Malcolm Butler has the most infamous interception in the history of football. So, yeah, that's one play, but at the same time, this is the same system that we run. So, yeah, he knows it, and we're hurting right now. So, I got to believe Malcolm Butler can contribute somewhat to this defense.
Yeah, I think if Noah Igbenogany can contribute over the past 2 weeks, you can hope that Malcolm Butler can get one. If we can get one more game-winning play out of Malcolm Butler, right now I take it. But hopefully we get Kader Kohou back this week, basically against the Lions.
Crazy how we talking about, can we get Kader Kohou back, right? Like, can we get Byron back? That doesn't seem like it's happening no time soon. If I'm being real with you,
Byron Jones is Will Fuller. This year's Will Fuller.
Hey, bro, I appreciate that. If peek behind the curtain, you put that in the group chat. I'm like, nah, don't compare Byron Jones to Will Fuller, bro. That's crazy, bro.
I meant in terms of what we all thought was an injury, which we get back, and just he's done for the season. Nah,
bro, that's a terrible comparison, bro. Like Byron Jones and Will Fuller, bro. Put some respect on Byron Jones' name.
Can I see him on the field this season? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but Will Fuller was hurt all the time, forever. Not just one season.
But I'm talking about his time in Miami. I'm not talking about the previous years. I'm talking about.
So Will Fuller played got 4 receptions in his time in Miami. Byron Jones is a staple in our defense. That's why I say you can't compare the two.
This season, and again, I'm comparing the whole. Will Fuller hurt his finger and was like, "Oh, back soon." Done for the season. Byron Jones had surgery back in March
on his Achilles.
Yeah.
There's a difference. There's a difference between a hurt finger and a Achilles surgery.
At the same time, we were all told we're fine for the season. We're fine for the season. We're fine for the season. He's on IR. We've seen him jog in the past few weeks. Off IR. How is he? Well, I don't know.
No,
listen, I'm just saying. I'm not talking about injury history. No. I'm talking about in Miami. We thought Will Fuller was going to come back. He didn't come back. Right now, we all thought Byron Jones was going to come back. He hasn't come back yet. We don't know when he's going to come back. The circumstances in that one scenario are pretty similar, and I don't want them to
find another analogy, bro. Because comparing Will Fuller to Byron Jones ain't it? Like I'm going to bat for my dog, bro.
You can go to bat, but if you can tell me how that Will Fuller situation is in no way comparable to this Byron Jones situation, I'm all for it.
I told you, because Will Fuller is glass, and he always
this
breaks.
Situation. It doesn't matter.
It's not about this situation.
It is about this situation.
Byron. All right. So still, all right. I'll go with this situation. Byron Jones is not glass. Will Fuller is glass, and you're comparing the two.
But if he's not glass, then why is he on the field right now?
Because there's a hiccup. People can have hiccups. But everyone that has a hiccup isn't Will Fuller all of a sudden. That's an extreme. That's pretty extreme.
I mean,
and you know how extreme that is? That's like saying there's a sun shower outside right now. Oh, this is like a hurricane. It's not a hurricane. It's a sun shower, bro. It's a sun shower.
Will Fuller hurt his finger, and we were all told he'll be back. We're like, okay, cool. We know he's injury prone, but he'll be back. Cool.
Right. I agree.
And he was done for the season. And he had a hiccup, which meant had him out for the season.
I got a question for you. Did it shock you that he didn't come back?
Yes, it did.
No.
Stop. No.
When Will Fuller got hurt, no one was shocked that he didn't come back. He's Will Fuller.
But that's not what you asked me. You asked me, was you shocked he didn't come back?
Yeah.
And I was shocked because of what we were told. Same way, and
Preston Williams.
I believe Preston Williams, yeah. But again, maybe that's just Brian Flores not listen. If Brian Flores said it's a serious finger injury, and we don't know when they're going to come back, I'll say, do you know what? Yeah, fair enough. If I stub my finger and I say to you, Charlie, Charlie, if I said to you, I've got a sore throat, I'll be back next week. Okay, cool, fair enough. And I go, oh, by the way, I can't speak again. You'd be like, sorry, what? Like, listen, am I shocked Will Fuller got hurt? No, I'm not. No, I'm not at all. Am I shocked that what we were told was a minor injury, which would come back from in that same season?
Mm-hmm.
I am shocked at that point because I was told it's a minor injury.
I'm glad you said that.
Let me finish. So, to compare it to Byron Jones, not only am I shocked he got that, I was shocked that he wasn't ready for the season, given we were told he was going to be ready for the season. And I'm even more shocked that after being taken off IR, we still don't know when he's going to come back because we were told he wouldn't be out this long. That's the comparison for me.
I'm glad you said minor injury because you compare Will Fuller's minor injury to Byron Jones's major injury. So there's a discrepancy already.
No, because it wasn't. It was cleanup surgery. That's what it was. It's cleanup surgery.
It's a major. It's not a finger. It's an Achilles. And so therefore, back to Mr. Glass of Will Fuller. That Will Fuller is okay. No one was shocked that he was hurt, but you should not be shocked that he didn't come back because you know that he's Glass. So it's like, all right, if he's Will Fuller, all right. It would not shock me if Will Fuller didn't come back from a finger injury. And lo and behold, he didn't come back from a finger injury. Has nothing. But I'm disappointed that we even put Byron Jones in this conversation. Byron Jones, man, it's unfortunate for sure. But nah, man, we can't compare Byron Jones with Will Fuller, man. Ain't no way.
And again, I'm not comparing the injury history. I'm literally saying in this scenario from a minor injury which turns into something major. Listen, I'm not one of the people that's like, oh, minor surgery is minor. Surgery is surgery. Like, let's not mess around with surgery. But what we were told that this was cleanup surgery, he will be fine for the season. And cleanup surgery in March had now ruled him out to essentially November with no time to go to when he returns. So all of a sudden, it's like that again. I'm comparing a minor injury to I understand an injury-prone person, but a minor injury keeping him out.
You hurt your argument.
I'm not
because I could have brought that up. Will Fuller's injury-prone. Byron Jones isn't. I was just this too many is not comparable.
No, because then all of a sudden, listen, it's for all of Will Fuller's injury proneness. How many times were they hand injuries? I know you don't have that off the top of my head, but it's one of those things where he could be injury prone, but if you hurt your hand, that's nothing to do with how many times you've torn your ACL or your hamstring or anything like that, which is why that muscle, that bone might not be as strong. Will Fuller hurting it turns out to be a very serious injury. And again, I'm also saying perhaps Brian Flores underplayed that injury, which has a habit of, because done the same thing with Preston Williams. All I'm saying is that in these two scenarios, both players had what we were told minor injuries, and it kept him out for a significant period of time, which has nothing to do with the injury pastness. It's I'm taking one injury, which I was told about, the significance of that injury, and it's somewhat appeared a lot worse.
You good, Kadeem? I'm just gonna leave it here. I'm just saying, I don't see why something that the Miami Dolphins told us shocks us that it didn't turn out the way they said it happened. I'm just saying that should not shock us.
Because again, it wasn't Brian Flores. If that was Brian Flores,
it's the Miami Dolphins. How many times the Miami Dolphins told us something that didn't? You gonna trust the Dolphins telling us something?
I'm not gonna tar on Mike McDaniel with the paintbrush of the former Miami Dolphins.
Hold on, Coach McDaniel got nothing to do with this.
So Coach McDaniel says something, but because he's now a Dolphin, that just happens to Dolphins.
Nah, Coach wasn't even the coach when Byron had to get surgery. So he got surgery. Yeah, Byron got off-season surgery that he should have got at the end of last season. Then I'm sounding like a demon right now. So now Byron comes back. He goes to get surgery. Coach ain't even get to coach him yet. It has nothing to do with Coach. It's Byron had the surgery. The recovery is not going as good as we would like. And this is where we are. It has nothing to do with Coach. Unlike Flores. Flores was like, blowing smoke to us.
I love how this is meant to end 10 minutes ago. I reached for another 10-minute tangent on a comparison I made.
That's terrible comparison. That's all. If it wasn't a terrible comparison, we wouldn't have been ran off for 10 minutes.
You might think I'm LB. Nah.
Hey, you know what? Let's just go to the comments. In the comments, is it fair to compare? I'll let you ask the question, Kadeem.
Is it fair to compare this Byron Jones injury to the Will Fuller injury, which kept him out basically until now, basically?
We're going to see. Who's it?